Thank you for watching On Call for All Kids. Today, we're going to be addressing some of the many concerns that new parents have from delivery to discharge during the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll be discussing if babies can leave the house during this time, whether or not infants should wear masks, and what coronavirus symptoms look like in babies. I am joined by Dr. Prem Fort. He is a pediatrician and a neonatologist at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. So great to see you, Dr. Fort.
Hi, Ashley. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. So during this time, when you're having a new baby, it's happy and it's joyous, but you're obviously seeing a lot of concerns and extra stressors from parents. What are you seeing? What are they asking you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, in general, having a baby is such a happy moment. It's the moment of excitement. You've been waiting for many months for this. And with COVID, it really adds a completely different stress. One of the questions that we've had, and one of the stresses that we've seen with parents, is that because of the unknowns of coronavirus and how it affected babies, the most of the organizations related to health, like the American Academy of Pediatrics, like the CDC, they were basically asking moms to be separated if there was any chance that the mom was either exposed to somebody who had coronavirus, or obviously if she had a test that was positive, they would basically have the baby separated initially. And that is a huge stress. You can imagine, obviously, you want to hold your baby, you want to have that time with your baby. Now, recently, the American Academy of Pediatrics, through more studies or more research, they've really come out with a new statement to say that separating the baby from the mother is not necessary anymore, as long as you can still minimize the risks of exposure. So obviously now you can stay, even if you are positive or you've been exposed or you're being tested, you can now stay with the baby. We really want to emphasize, though, that if that happens, you still have to use your mask. You still have to wash your hands if you're going to be interacting with the baby. But obviously, it makes a huge difference that now the moms can stay with the babies.
Yeah, that's really great news. And as parents go home and they take their new little bundle of joy home with them, what are some common questions you're getting? I hear maybe, can I go on walks? Can we visit family members?
Absolutely. So it's in general, we know that the immune system for babies tends to be a little bit lower than obviously older babies and children. And so in general, you never want to expose a baby right after birth to a ton of people, especially if they're having any symptoms of any illness. Now, specifically with coronavirus, you definitely want to emphasize not having any exposure beyond what is called your exposure unit, meaning the people that are in immediate contact, the family members that are living in the house with the baby. You don't want to expose that baby to other people. And of course that's tough because you have the grandparents, you have so many other family members that want to come meet the baby. This unfortunately is not the time. And again, it speaks to that stress we've talked about. This is unprecedented. It's very difficult to a lot of families, but I promise in time, when all this blows over and everything, we reach the right time to be able to have babies out and be exposed to other families, there's going to be huge celebrations, I know. But at this moment, you really want to minimize that. As far as going out, you are able to go out with your baby, take him in a stroller. If there's going to be anybody that's going to be coming in close contact, you want to put a blanket, you want to put something on top of the stroller so that there isn't that direct contact, and obviously avoid the heavy sun times. You want to, come out before 10 o'clock. You want to come out after 3 or 5 p.m. so that you minimize any direct sun exposure. That's obviously completely separate from coronavirus, but just kind of general care for the skin of the baby.
Now we're understanding the importance of masks for adults to be wearing as they go out and about. How about for babies? Should they be wearing masks?
That is actually a really common question. And what the American Academy of Pediatrics and the CDC and the WHO actually, they do not recommend babies using masks, or I should say less than 2 years old, using masks. And that is because there is an increased risk of suffocation with babies. In general, the windpipe, the trachea, where you're able to get air in, is smaller in babies. And so it is already, as we have recognized as adults, it's already a little bit difficult to breathe with a mask. And so with smaller babies, smaller children and toddlers, you really want to minimize any type of exposure that could cause them not to breathe appropriately. And so we do not recommend using masks for babies less than 2 years of age.
And Dr. Fort, can you touch on, obviously we're doing everything to prevent our new baby from getting sick, but what are some of those coronavirus symptoms we should be looking out for?
Absolutely. So with babies, they do actually present fairly similar symptoms as the adults. One of the things, the most common presentation for adults and children, and this goes again for babies, is fever. And that accounts for a temperature of 100.4 Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius. And so that is the most common presenting sign. One of the other things that they can have in general symptoms are not feeling well, not wanting to eat. They can have a runny nose. They can have a little bit of a cough or respiratory symptom where they're actually breathing a little bit fast, a little bit hard. But those are kind of general things. And keep in mind that just because they have these symptoms, that doesn't mean that it's coronavirus. There are so many other viruses, so many other illnesses that can cause it. So that's where it's really important for you to communicate and have that close communication with your pediatrician.
And lastly, what else should parents take away from this today?
So there's a lot of evidence coming, and things have been changing month to month in general with just information for coronavirus. And when it comes to children and babies, we have to take this very serious. A lot of information has come out showing that initially, babies don't seem to be getting sick, but we do know that babies have a lower immune system than older children and older babies and adults. And so we still have to take this very seriously when it comes to our own children. We are so happy. We have a new baby. We're excited to show the baby to the world, but we want to take this very seriously. So you keep that baby nice and healthy. Make sure you go to the appointments as your pediatrician sets them up so that you keep your baby nice and healthy. And then when all this again calms down, you can show your baby to the world.
Dr. Fort, thank you so much for joining us today and all this great advice for those new parents out there.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for having me.
And thank all of you for tuning in this evening. If you have any topics you would like us to look into, you can comment below right here on this video. And another great resource is our website. It's hopkinsallchildrens.org/coronavirus. And there's a lot of other things there that you can check out as well. Thank you for watching again. We'll see you next time.